Welcome to Paw Print Academy, your blueprint to raising better dogs. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your host for this journey. I've got my trusty co-host here, Brianna.
Hello.
And together we're bringing you real-world training insights built on leadership, structure, and proven methods. We record this podcast with live clients on the line in one take with live, unscripted questions and answers. At the end of the day, this podcast is a lot more than just teaching your dog to sit or stay. It's about building trust, creating calmness, and becoming the kind of leader your dog truly needs. We do that with our 3-pillar method of trust, obey, and perform. Together, we'll show you how these 3 pillars shape every step of training. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, episode 26. We are halfway there. 6 months in.
Oh, I was like halfway to where? What's
Yeah, episode 26.
Double 26.
The goal was to do one podcast a week for a year. And, we're not going to hit that exactly because there has been a couple of little hang-ups and snafus and sicknesses and normal life events.
Yeah.
But we are cooking with gas, moving right along. And we are at episode 26. Today we're talking about pulling towards dogs or people, which is the gateway to reactivity.
Yeah.
It's not textbook reactivity where everybody goes, oh yeah, my dog's aggressive.
Right.
But this is the precursor that typically causes some of those things.
Yeah.
Or I guess that's probably the wrong way to say it. Causes is probably not the same as like segues into. Right?
Yeah, or
it's the precursor, contributes, it patterns
yeah.
this concept.
Yep.
But it doesn't cause it, right? The cause could simply just be, oh, I wanted to go see that thing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. Tonight, we're going to talk about how dogs that pull towards people or other dogs, it's not just them being friendly. Right. And that's typically the part, pause there. It's typically the part that we see when we go to like a local brewery or a local place in public, and you see a dog that's off the chain, right? Just like pulling and pulling and pulling, and their owner's like getting pulled behind him, and they're like, don't worry, he's friendly.
Yep.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat. Everywhere.
So it's not about the dog being friendly.
Yeah.
Because that dog is exhibiting a behavior that later you're not going to like.
Right. It's like a kid running straight through the restaurant, like way ahead of you, not even like anywhere near you. And you're like, he's 2, okay.
Right.
But
dogs typically don't grow out of behaviors.
Right.
They grow into them.
They do.
And wherever they are right now, they're living, breathing things, right? Mm-hmm. They're not going to just stay the same. You're either you're getting, the patterns are getting stronger, they're getting weaker. Patterns rarely ever stay the same.
Right. Things get better or things get worse.
Correct. So the dog is rehearsing what we would call fixation and entitlement. Mm-hmm. If a dog thinks that they can get to something and they think that they should get to it, regardless of what you say or do, that is the precursor to a potential big problem.
Yeah, because they can become like just obsessed.
Right. And who says that it stops there? That's a pattern that can be conditioned to then create a bigger issue.
Yeah.
And typically, this is the part where us sitting behind the mics as dog trainers, it's easy for us to go, see, that's a problem. But that's because we see the worst of it afterwards.
Yeah, somebody told me
Because
that the other
that's
day when
they call us.
Right.
They're like, this is out of control.
Yeah. I heard a dog bark in public the other day and I was like, ooh. And somebody was like, it's weird how you react to like that. And I'm just like, oh, there's a dog barking. And I'm like, right. That dog's got some sort of problem somewhere. You know, it's not just like, it didn't just have a Tourette's like episode. And
I remember
just, like, bark.
you saying that though, but you were also commenting on how they weren't barking before.
Right, exactly, because they're trying to tell you something.
Precipitated because of something.
Yeah, like one person walked in and they decided to bark at that one person and they had been there for like a half hour. Like people in and out, like whatever. Right, and they decided to bark at that one person. It's like, yeah, right.
Right, they don't do nothing.
Yeah,
and they don't do things for no reason.
Yeah.
Right.
That
There's
dog
always a
felt
reason.
the effort to put in, you know, the effort of barking at that person. So yeah, it's saying something. But most people don't see it that way. They're just like, that dog's saying hi.
And this is why we call this the first step towards reactivity if left unchecked.
Yeah.
So we really have to get on this. Dog training is very much like what the medical field really should be, which is more prevention based. The unfortunate reality is that most medicine these days is done reactively.
Yeah, I hate a doctor.
Right. We don't really focus on like nutrition and the things that could prevent these things. So instead we throw Band-Aids at it.
Right. And then we're there when we don't feel good.
Right.
And they're like
we throw
poking
medicines
you with needles
at it
and we're like, I hate you guys. But they're like, well,
dog training is the same concept. If we protect our dog's patterns and behaviors from progressing, you don't have to deal with them later down the road.
Right. There's no problem unless there's a problem.
Right. It's fine until it's not.
Yeah.
And I say that all the time.
Yep.
People are like, well, is it okay if my dog jumps on the couch? And I'm like, yeah, of course. It's fine until it's not. And that's always the truth. Right. That's always true. Can my dog sleep in the bed with me? Yeah, it's fine until it's not. But I am the one that gets the call when someone wakes up in the middle of the night and the dog is like standing on their chest growling at them.
Yeah.
Or they roll over and the dog bites them in the middle of the night because you rolled on top of the dog and the dog was like, no, you get off of my space.
Yeah. Right. It's
and suddenly it's a problem. But it wasn't before.
Yeah.
But now it is. Okay. We've beat around that one long enough.
Yep.
So pulling is not social. It's the beginning of obsession. And pulling towards another dog or person, it can be driven by arousal. It's not really calm social behavior.
Right. It's usually arousal. Usually dogs are stoked.
Right. And that's where he's friendly. He's having a great time.
Yeah.
He's this, she's that, whatever. Those things come from this concept where we put our emotions on the dog.
Yep.
And we go, they're so excited. But the reason the dog does it isn't simply excitement of happiness. Excitement is also got other emotions and urges and thought processes and patterns built into it.
Right, because we always say an excited dog is not always a happy dog. It's just like an over-aroused dog. It's an overstimulated dog.
Yeah. So the dog's not really thinking in that instance, right? They're just reacting. And the reason why we call it reactivity is because that's what the dog is doing. They're just reacting.
Right, they're not thinking, yeah.
So if we see a dog pull an owner across I'm trying not to always use the brewery as an example, but through the public place, right?
Yeah.
The restaurant, wherever you are that's dog friendly, that is a reactive dog. They're reacting to something.
Yep.
Every successful pull where the dog pulls hard and gets to somewhere
Mm-hmm.
is self-reinforcing.
Yeah.
So the dog just learns that that pressure, that intensity, the discomfort on their neck from pulling and pulling and pulling, it's all just par for the course. It's all just something the dog has to deal with in order to get what they want. And whatever they want,
battles.
right, they're willing to put up with that in order to get this.
Mm-hmm.
And we accidentally allow this all the time.
Yep.
Every time the dog pulls to get to something, it doesn't matter if it's pulling 20 feet across the restaurant or 5 feet outside your driveway.
Yeah.
It is the same process for the dog. All right. Over time, excitement can turn into frustration as well. And so it's not just about, oh, the dog's just excited. They're excited. Well, the more that they get to where they're going, the more that they succeed at taking space that they want, the more that pattern is driven to drive the dog to want things and to chase that self-rewarding behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've conditioned this cycle that the dog, I want this, I go and I take it. I want that. I pull you and we go and get it.
Yeah.
Well, now suddenly there is a dog or a thing that you're like, no, that's unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I've let you pull me on all these other things, now that, no, you can't have that. Leave it. Leave it. I hear this all. No, leave it. Right. But you didn't pattern that in all these other situations.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't teach that in all these less exciting situations.
Right. Leave it only works if you've like repped it out in other successful situations. It's like recall in emergencies, right? If you haven't taught it on the back end, like your dog is not learning right there.
Yep. So over time, it ends up turning into frustration, and it easily segues into frustration when the dog doesn't get to go where they want.
Yep.
Now you've got a frustrated dog and a dog that's feeling the anxiety and the frustration and the excitement and all of these things all at the same time. Yeah. And then typically, it's not all the time, there's some very passive, relaxed dogs at home that are very reactive to other dogs. That is totally possible. But usually, the most reactive dogs that we're talking about, that people kind of like you picture in your head if you talk about a reactive dog, usually they're not calm at home. Usually they don't lay on place.
Right.
Usually they don't just do whatever you ask or whatever you say. They don't leave it. That articulates the issue.
Yeah.
Right. That kind of frames the problem.
Right. I always think of like, imagine it's like your 3-year-old's birthday party and they're like on ice cream and cake and they've had the party and it's been hours and they've been jumping in the little like play place and whatever, and all their friends are there, and after 3 hours they're in tears and they're crying and they're screaming and nothing can like console them.
Yeah.
Right? Because they just hit this peak where they can't even handle like the level of emotion that they're at, even if it is good. It's like overwhelmingly good. Mm-hmm. And then they just crash down to like the lowest. Yeah. Right. And that's how it is for a dog too, just to get that overstimulated and that excited to be around like that space.
Right. So when the access to those things is denied, or the owner's like, no, you can't have that.
Yeah.
That same behavior escalates very quickly. And that's when we get the barking and the lunging and the full-blown blow-ups and reactivity.
Yep.
So before I jump into what we're going to do about it, let's talk about where this where the battle really takes place here. Usually when we're on the walk, loose leash walking, which is kind of our goal, it's not just a skill. It's not like, just go and show me some loose leash walking. And if you do all of the little techniques exactly right in the right sequence, suddenly your dog just listens. That doesn't happen. And this is the most frustrating thing for owners when we do dog training. You can go, and this is without me going down the science and playing the science music, with you can look up on YouTube and you can see a whole bunch of the designer dog trainers out there and go, oh, see, they got this dog to walk with them right next to them. They fixed the reactivity in one session. It's not typical. Right. Can it happen? Yes.
Yeah.
But can the dog show you, okay, yeah, I don't want any more of the smoke or whatever it is that the trainer put on them in order to get them to walk next to them. But I'm going to walk next to you until the next opportunity I get to like be back with my parents or back with a different person, right?
Right.
I'm not doing a good job of explaining this because I can see on your face. But there is a mismatch between what some people see in a video as cool. The problem has been fixed.
Yeah.
Well, they just did the special little techniques and we Caesar Milan'd him and suddenly the dog behaves.
Yeah.
But if you don't build that relationship, the fix is temporary.
Right, because you can walk by one dog successfully one time.
Right. And so where I'm going with this is that all of this is relationship based. The concept of loose leash walking is based on the relationship between you and your dog.
Yeah.
If you don't have one, the dog's not going to want to walk with you. Who in your life walks with you who you don't have a relationship with?
Yeah.
No one.
Right.
You don't even ask someone to go for a walk with you. You don't ask strangers to go for a walk with you. Yeah. So it's crazy to think that you can live in the same house with a dog and not have a relationship with them, but I see it all the time.
Yeah.
I see it all the time. Where, the dog lives there, but they don't respect you. They don't look to you for guidance. They don't look to you for, hey, well, what are you doing? They look to you for, where's the food? When are you going to pet me? When are you going to cuddle me? Are you going to keep me safe? But that doesn't necessarily mean the dog is like dependent on you. Yeah, they can be like physically dependent on you, but not like emotionally. They don't really care where you are or what you're doing.
Yeah.
All right. The dog really dictates the direction and the pace here. All right. When your leadership gets compromised and you're no longer leading this interaction, how do you expect to get the dog to just do what you say?
Right.
Well, this is where the big debate over aversive techniques and corrective tools and collars and all of these things ends up. If you have built a relationship, then tools and collars and all of these things can be used simply as accountability processes rather than coercive techniques and aversive stimulus for the dog.
Yep.
That being said, this is where a lot of people go wrong because they just go, I'm just going to rely on this collar. I'm just going to rely on this tool. Or I'm going to rely on this whatever. And the dog's not going to cross me. See, you lost it. Because now you don't have the relationship.
Yep.
All right. Allowing a dog to pull towards distractions typically just teaches them to prioritize the environment over the handler.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where your relationship breaks down.
Right,
Suddenly
that's
you've
my
lost
big one.
value. The environment has gained value.
Yeah.
And now what point does the dog have to
Right. That's what I tell
listen?
people with puppies all the time. I'm like, the worst thing you can do for your puppy is just to let everybody like come over and pet your puppy, because it just teaches your dog to check out from you and check into everything else around you.
Right. It's
Because
a
that's where
repetition
all the good
over and
things
over and
come
over.
from. If the good things aren't coming from you, they're coming from somewhere else. And when you have a puppy, it's the number one time that you should be the only thing of value to that dog.
Right. You got an entire life for people to pet your dog.
So many years of pets.
But when you only take them out a few times, and every time that you take them out,
Yeah.
because you're always going to think, oh, I'm just going to go out some more. I'm going to go out again.
Yeah.
We'll get more chances.
Mm-hmm.
That's just typically not what we see.
Yeah.
So when you let everyone else bring the value, that's where the relationship tends to break down.
Yeah. It's like if you have $20, every time someone pets your puppy, you lose $1. 20 pets and you're out of dollars, and all the strangers
more.
have your money.
No more dollars.
Yeah. And the puppy's like, well, she doesn't have any money, so I'm going over here.
Okay. The neutrality is really our goal with this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about neutrality, right, we're just looking for the dog. We're not looking to make you so positive that the dog never looks at anything else. That's not what we're going to probably accomplish. It's like crate training. We're never going to make the crate so pleasurable and so great that the dog chooses it with the door open over the couch laying right there, if they're allowed on both.
Right.
It's just,
That doesn't make any sense.
doesn't make any sense, right? Which one would you go in?
Yeah. Definitely
So-
going on the couch.
That's right.
For sure.
So the dog should be able to exist, though, around people and dogs without needing to engage them. I keep using this example, but it's just so true. I have 0 dogs that I've ever been called for because they're reactive to trees. Right. And people are like, well, yeah, obviously. Right. Obviously, because trees are scenery.
Yeah.
Why are they scenery, though?
I mean, I don't know. Gabe doesn't love a tree
He does.
because it blows in the wind
Okay.
and he doesn't like wind.
That's fair. But except for Gabe.
The
because
least of our problems, though, is trees.
Right. He has other issues. Mental stability issues.
Yeah.
But the concept is, and everyone just shakes their head, well, duh, of course. But why aren't dogs reactive to trees? Most dogs.
Because no trees are trying to touch dogs.
Right. There's no value there. It's
Yeah.
just scenery. They never do anything.
Yeah.
They're just over there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you let your dog see a lot of other dogs,
Yeah.
see a lot of other people, be around those things,
Yeah.
and everything that you do and engage the dog is completely the same, there's no reason that those things bring more value.
Yeah, one great place like for puppies is like big parks, right? Stump Sound here locally is a great one. There's a really big one in Wilmington. I think it's like Longleaf, or maybe they changed the name. I don't know. But that's a really, really good one. And there's always people and kids and adults and sports and dogs and like lawn equipment and cars and all these things going back and forth. But you can pick places that are at such a distance that it's just scenery to a dog, and nobody really interrupts people at parks to typically go, oh, let me pet your dog. But in close proximities, like coffee shops and things like that, it's just easier for people to be like, oh, can I pet your dog? And if you are at a park and somebody, comes over to do that, there's enough distance to where you can see them coming to be like, oh, sorry, we're working on, just engaging with each other over here. Thanks for asking. But it's a great place for puppy exposure that a lot of people don't take the step to go to, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's boring, right? I mean, nobody wants to just like go to a park and just like sit down with their dog,
Right. But a dog is always going to be a product of what you consistently pattern.
Yeah.
Additionally, what is another way that you would explain to a client how less interaction like creates a more stable dog?
I think it's like, so I can always relate something back to like kids, but it's like a constantly engaged person. It's like micromanagement. There we go. That's a pretty good one that everybody could like relate to. It's micromanagement. When it comes down to it, if you have a micromanager that's like, hey, did you do this? Hey, you have to be on this call at this time and then send this email and do this. And it's just such a steep level that you have no choice in the matter, and it's just being thrown at you every which way. It becomes so overstimulating that you don't have the option to, you learn to not relax in a state other than chaos. And so you get so used to it that at some point you're just, you live in that state and you live in a heightened environment. And what people don't realize is it comes down to like chemical makeup of hormones and different things like that. Are you going to play the
I'm
science
going to play the
button?
science song.
Yeah, here's our science one, right? So it comes down to cortisol and dopamine and all the receptors in the brain that speak to each other at a level that it affects how your mind works and how you think and process and function on a day-to-day level. It's the same with humans, and dogs function the exact same way chemically. And if you disrupt that to a level where it's like they only learn to live at level 100, it's like even at a calm state, you don't get a dog that goes to 0, you get a dog that goes to like 40. And 40 is not relaxed.
Right.
They're not at a
Right.
baseline.
It might look relaxed compared
Right.
to their normal.
Right, but it's not.
But that doesn't mean that it's a healthy relax.
Yeah, you need a dog that knows how to go from 100 to 0. And if not, there's going to be some level of balance, right? At some points, maybe one day you only get to 80 and the next day they get down to 20. So you're getting closer, and you might get closer day by day, but then there's like something that happens and you're back at 100 because they were stuck in their kennel and they didn't get the exercise they needed and all these other things because it was raining and whatever it may be. You have to think about those balances and what you're trying to always like level out in your dog. And I think that's how we kind of like think of it, especially with our most like high drive dog. It's like, what can we always try to do daily different? Because he gets so pattern based because he's so driven. It's like, cool, how can we feed him different this morning? And you know, at dinner time, how can we feed him different compared to this morning versus last night? It's like, let's not do it double times in a row because he might catch on to something. Who knows? It's just so disruptive to like the structure that we tell people to create. But you have to meet your dog at a level where you can balance those things out.
Nice. I love that.
That was a long science
That
lesson.
was a long science
There
lesson.
weren't really like statistics in there. But
No, but I like
don't
it. You said
Google those.
dopamine,
Yeah.
so
I know.
was the science
As soon as
word.
we start talking about those things, we're off on a science lesson.
I love it. So now let's talk about prevention. We've highlighted the problem. We've talked about a little bit what the issue is and how we explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about prevention and redirection and how we can use those things to avoid an issue before it begins. Additionally, remind me at the end, I have an explanation for some of this that it's not a science lesson, but I think it'll help.
I'll try my best. I'm not very good at coming back to things later.
Okay. The mistake most owners make is we wait too long.
Yeah.
Wait too long. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's pretty common.
So we see the kind of the issue and we go, it's going to go away.
Yeah.
They probably won't do that next time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see it, if you see something, say something. that that concept, same thing.
Yeah.
When you see it, do something about it.
Yeah.
Because the dog for sure saw it. Remember the concept of their little scientists.
Yeah.
And they're always running experiments.
Mm-hmm.
And so they definitely saw it.
Yeah.
Oh, I did this. Oh, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool. I'll do that again.
Right.
And then...
Yeah, and that's the same with the reactivity train, right? If it's like you watch your dog at the end of the leash, like their ears perk up and their forehead wrinkles and stuff, it's like they're already on that path. Like you're not going to divert them by like trying to scrape out like a little path in the sand and be like, no, come back this
right,
way.
yeah, go this
you
way, go
waited
this
too
way.
long.
Right.
Like there was already the fork and they already went right and you're already on the left one.
When the snowball goes down the hill and it's getting bigger and bigger,
Yeah.
at a certain point, you can't move that sucker.
Yeah, you should have.
It's just going.
Yeah,
you should have
done it before.
You should have done it before, right?
Yeah, you waited too long.
That's exactly.
You gotta be
That
quicker
is
than that.
exactly reactivity in a nutshell.
Yeah.
We have to break it and redirect it
Right, and
early.
it sucks, right? Like nobody wants to hear that. It sucks. It's not a fun train to be on. I'm not even going to like sugarcoat it. Reactivity sucks. It's hard and it takes a long time to fix. But it doesn't mean that it's not fixable and it doesn't mean that there's not progress either. But you have to take like the little grains of sand that you gathered and you have to make it into a little sandcastle and be like, look at this is all the progress we made. Because it's still there no matter what.
By the time the dog is pulling hard, they're already mentally gone too. So they're not even listening at this point.
Nope.
They've gone through their pattern. They're in their heads. You are experiencing and seeing classical conditioning in action, and there's no choice about it. They're just rolling through their like pattern.
Yeah, it's like the bull with the red flag.
So early intervention is the key, right? Early intervention matters. Reading the dog's body language and interrupting that fixation before things escalate is the key to preventing reactivity.
Yeah.
And that is where the famous Cesar Millan thing came from, right? It just is a redirect and a breaking the pattern concept.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something that we like recommend or we sign off on. It's just what
Right. It could literally be any noise, to be honest.
I just love using it as an example because almost everybody has at one point or another seen like an old dog whisperer episode on TLC or something.
Yeah, all the time.
All right. Clear communication is also critical.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't communicate with your dog because you never taught them how to communicate in any other situation, now you're in a reactivity state. You're done. Because you don't have any hope.
Pulling towards another dog and letting your dog get there is not a state that you want to even be in if you haven't taught your dog leash pressure or any sort of basic obedience. And I know people might disregard like a sit down, whatever, but those things matter when you're trying to learn and teach communication to your dog.
Right. A well-timed no followed by fair leash guidance, and then immediate praise is the key to getting that disengagement at the same time as building like the dog's trust and their understanding in you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So real quick before I go forward, here is the second science lesson for the day. All right. What I was going to highlight, and I wanted to wait until the solutions.
Is this what I was reminding you of?
Yes, this is what you were going to remind me of. The concept is turn every distraction and interaction your dog has with something else into a numbers game. So if hearing the doorbell is a 20 out of 100, and hearing the pots and pans in the cabinet is a 5 out of 100.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hearing the car door is a 40 or a 50 out of 100. Seeing a dog across the street is a 60 out of 100. A squirrel running across the road is now an 80 or a 90 out of 100, right? This concept is important because it allows you to think through what the dog is going through and then train to a standard. And where I'm going with this is it's impossible to line up squirrels at that 80 or 90 out of 100 and run them across the road so you can practice interrupting reactivity. But what you can do is you can find other items that are the 20 and the 30, 40, 50 out of 100. And you slowly work up to the 80. And now you take those other items, those other things that are of the lower value, and you start asking for the dog to perform alternative or incompatible behaviors during those experiences. So what that looks like is the pots and pans rustling around triggers the dog, but it's maybe 5, 10, 20 points out of 100. We start with that. We hear that, the dog gets all, sit. Good, we reward that. And we continue that, and we pattern that. Cool, now we're up to a 20 out of 100. Now we start working on that sit or those alternative or incompatible behaviors in proximity to a 40 out of 100, then in proximity to a 50 out of 100. And then eventually we get up to the point where we can work on the squirrel. But we have to do those things first with the least amount of distraction, the least amount of anxiety built up, the least amount of frustration, and the most amount of communication. And then we work up until we get to the point where we can really attack that reactivity. But we have to focus on what do we ask the dog to do. You can't start with, don't react to that dog. Don't react to that dog. Hold on, I'm going to walk past this dog again. No, don't react to that dog. What are you asking the dog to do instead? And have you taught the dog to do that at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 before we got there? If you have, you probably won't have that problem anymore. Okay. Body language. Last one I want to talk about before. What specific body language would you educate owners that they need to look for in a dog that is fixating and or on its way to blowing up and reacting?
Tail positioning for sure. Super high tail. And I know people look at like wagging as a good thing, but a lot of times when they are at that point, they are like flicking their tail back and forth more than likely. Hackles, obviously, either up on the like butt. I call it like their butt tufts, like right above their tail get raised, or their mohawk, which is like up on their like neck area. So there's two different types. Either of those, like forward posturing. So like pulling forward is like another reason that dogs do that, is because they're like posturing forward. Their ears kind of go up and forward as well. Forehead wrinkles of any kind. Yeah, those are all the ones I can think of at the top of my head.
And then what timing are we looking at for actually correcting and redirecting this dog?
Yeah, so
obviously it's before the explosion.
Yeah, I get like to the count of 3 with some like strong eye contact of my dog like targeting on another dog before I'm like, basically I'm recalling them back to me or getting their attention back on me to kind of test where they're at.
It's a fine balance, right? Between if you correct or if you redirect your dog before they even fixate, then you're not really deconditioning or desensitizing that to anything. But if you wait too long and they're into the reaction, they're past fixation, and now you're correcting an animal that's like only using half of their senses.
Right. So I'll give them to like a 1, 2, 3, and by then I'll try the dog's name just to see if they can, like, if I see their ears move to where they can like hear me or anything. If there's any acknowledgement, and if I get no acknowledgement at that point, that tells me already that the dog is like too far over and I need to go ahead and like ask for a redirection. Because at that point, if your dog's so disengaged from you that they can't like even like give you a ear flick for their name, then they're like past the red line.
Would you recommend food or toy, or what do we?
I'm definitely not going to use a toy. A toy is going to give you way too much drive in that situation. You can use some food, but I wouldn't go like too far past the point of like high value. I mean, you can use some high value. It depends on the dog and the level of drive that they have.
Everything's always going to depend.
Right. If it's a high drive dog and they're super like driven for food, then I probably wouldn't at that point.
So with food, I say that there's two major trains of thought with this.
Yeah.
One, food is a stimulant.
Yeah.
And so it can ramp a dog's arousal level up.
Mm-hmm.
If the dog's already pegged out, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
But on which scale is the dog pegged out? Because the other side is that we can use food very successfully for a scared or anxious dog.
Right.
To measure whether they're at or above or below threshold is what we call it. Threshold just being the level at which they are now like tuned out and their parasympathetic nervous system is shut down, and they're now in their sympathetic pathways.
Yeah, and
which
you
is
can
where
always...
their food drive dies off. And so we offer the dog food in certain situations like that, and if they're not taking food, they're way overstimulated, or they're overstimulated. They're over threshold.
Yeah, and if they are food driven, you can always like use it. And if you're in like a heightened state like that where there is a dog present and you're trying to like redirect, then you can cut out food for that time until the dog comes back down, and then you can start rewarding again. But it always is going to depend on where your dog is really at in their drive. Because we always look at, and I always tell owners, there's 3 drives, right? There's prey, pack, and play. And in an environment like that, when you're out in public, you should always be in pack drive with your dog, because you don't want to be in prey drive for sure. Worst drive you could be in public. And you don't want to really be in play drive because you're going to amp the dog up, and it's not a place or a time for any of that. And so when your dog is going at another dog and pulling to another dog, that tells you that they're either in prey drive or play drive. But if they're at the end of a leash pulling to something else, they're for sure not in pack drive with you, because they wouldn't be pulling on you. They'd be with you being like, hey, where are we going? What are we doing?
Yeah. All right. Anything else to add?
No, I think I've rambled enough there.
All right. We're going to knock out listener projects here. For project number 1, the neutral walk drill. So take your dog on a structured walk. Structured being we're going somewhere.
Yeah.
Not I'm walking and looking around at the trees and the da-da-da-da-da. Structured walk, right? We're walking with a point to it. In a low to moderate distraction area. Your goal is neutrality. No greetings, no interaction, no deviations. We're just going. If your dog begins to fixate, change the direction, change him up early, redirect, but do not wait for the pull. Mark the correct position and good engagement. And you can just use good or yes or whatever it is that your marker words are. But keep it calm, not exciting. Then track how often your dog checks in with you versus scanning the environment. I guess I'll come back to this in just a second. Project number 2, the early interruption test. During your next walk, focus only on reading your dog. And the moment you see those ears come forward, the body kind of stiffen up, or the pace increase towards a trigger, Give the dog a calm but firm no. If needed, you can apply light leash pressure and then immediately release the pressure when the dog complies. This harnesses the concept of negative reinforcement. The second your dog disengages, mark with good and then continue moving. All right. Where I was going with this is that last piece of project number 1, track how often your dog checks in with you versus scanning the environment. We are building the Paw Print Academy app. It is going to be released in May, ideally the first week in May. It is coming out soon. It is going to be extremely useful for tracking purposes. This is an app that is built around the science. It is just scientific principle after scientific principle put together in a way that makes your life easier training your dog. The concept is that the app is built around a journal and quick log system that allows you to keep track of what you're doing, whether it's working, whether things are getting better or worse, and it gives you insights and statistics that's all AI driven that happens in real time immediately after you put in a journal entry. So every journal entry that you put in, AI that has been trained in the top dog training methods and the things that we use as we work with clients every day, all of that has been built in to a AI model. That model sweeps your training logs, your journals, your homework, your things that you're doing with your dog. There are courses built in. All of that gets correlated and analyzed, and you get daily updates on what you should be doing with your dog, how things are going, what you should do next, what's the 80-20, the 20% thing that you can do to get 80% of the results. It's all efficiency based. And the concept is that this makes your training smarter. It's got training tools built in. It's got sound desensitization built in. It's all science-backed. And the concept is that it's all about tracking. If you are on a walk and you're tracking how often your dog checks in with you and you're walking, most people live in a neighborhood or something. Well, how many times was it? Well, we've got trackers and timers that you can literally just hold in your hand and tap every time that your dog checks in with you on a walk. And at the end of the walk, cool. Was it 10? Was it 20? Was it 50? How do you know if it's getting better or not?
Yeah.
This is the concept that I think is going to help people out. And it's all based on dog behavior science. So super excited to release that. If you're listening and you are one of our private clients before, we are releasing that right now. I've got clients in it and they're working through some private client sections and things like that. So if you have gone through one of our programs at Top Dog Training, then please reach out to me and let me know. I can walk you through how you can download that and start using it to work through smarter dog training. All right. With that, let me look over my notes real quick. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
No, that was it.
That is it. All right. Well, then we will close it out with a thank you for tuning in. If you are listening to this on after the fact, please, whatever platform you're listening to it on, give us a rating. Give us some feedback. Send me an email at ryan@topdogtrainingnc.com. Let me know how we're doing. Let me know if you've got some suggestions, or let me know if you want to be one of the first testers for the app. Thanks. Have a good night.
Good night.